All right, let's do this, y'all. We got to finish up the piece that we finished earlier. All right, so we're gonna go through the Q2 business assessment. Excuse me. Q2 business assessment. You good? You good with me? All right. All right. So go to the page where it says, "What are your biggest opportunities for improvement in your business?" Not that one. The Q2 business assessment, not the strategic plan one. The Q2 business assessment. There you go. So it says, "What are your biggest opportunities for improvement for your business as you move into the third quarter in your current program?"
What's the sheet look like? Can you hold it up?
It was the one at the very beginning. It was the one. It's right there. Wait, you right there. Yep.
There.
All right. So when you're gonna do the top section, you're gonna do two sides. One side is opportunity or issue, and the other side is action to improve opportunity. If you know the action, right?
Hold over my hand.
So what are your biggest
Angle on my hand slowly.
for your business as you move into the third quarter?
Thank you.
All right, let's do
You can do anything.
Go.
I'll take your pen.
I have several. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's sending them one. It's like a small token of your appreciation. Total game changer. Even if they don't even wear it, but just sending them that gift, like, hey, this is my thank you. Game changer. I'm telling you.
I was thinking about that.
Huh? I was thinking about that. I was at the event and this came up and I thought about it. I'm telling you, game changer. All right, let's keep going. All right. So now we're gonna talk about your sales, marketing, company growth activities. Let's look at where you are. Listen, don't overthink it. Just come up with the thing. Just write it. So 1, we're gonna rate yourself. 1 is you're on the struggle bus. 10 is star status. It can't be improved. Okay? 1, you're on the struggle bus. 2, star status. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna go through them together. Number 1, I have the mindset of a 7-figure CEO. Where are you with that? Don't overthink this. Number 2, I'm using solid financial frameworks to build a business that serves me. 3, I'm clear on my dream client. 4, I'm clear on the one big problem I solve for my dream client or clients. And again, y'all, this is not a positive thinking exercise. This ain't like where you should be. This is like where you really see yourself right now. This ain't like all attraction. This is like real hard. Where am I? So we can improve. Does that make sense? And some of y'all, you already seen your number improve over the past 3 retreats, right? So this is like just assessing where you are. All right. I'm clear about my Godfather law. Next, I'm clear how to close the sale when I meet the new prospect, and I'm comfortable asking for the sale. I'm clear on my prices and packages and charging accordingly. I'm clear on my prices and packages and charging accordingly. Just think about a minute you work with somebody else, like just a little. I have effective client success systems in place. Next, I have an effective client attraction system. I'm generating 50 to 100 target leads daily. At least. I'm generating at least 50 to 100 targeted leads daily. I have leads coming into my business on autopilot, even as I sit here doing this exercise. I am clear on my marketing plan. I have created my signature system. I have an accountability system in place to make sure I stay focused and on track. I get out and network when my dream clients hang out consistently. All right.
Kevin Samuel said no sevens.
Let's be respectful of everybody. Some people don't think outward, so we gotta be respectful of everybody. All right. I'm clear on where my dream clients hang out online. I'm clear on my dream clients hang out online. I have removed myself as the bottleneck in all areas of my business.
Boy, that's the terrible face you making. That's not sick.
It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. I have specific revenue and personal goals for the new year. I have specific revenue and personal goals for the new year, or the new quarter. Let's just call it the new quarter. I know what I must do in order to watch the needle move in my business. I know what I must do in order to watch the needle move in my business. I have a solid team in place, so my business runs with little, if any, of my personal involvement. I have a solid team in place, so my business runs with little, if any, of my personal involvement. Could you take a vacation for a week to your desired destination in the business you run? In other words, would it like run as if you were there? Right? All right. I have a world-class executive assistant that helps protect my time.
Whoop, whoop.
I have a world-class executive assistant that helps protect my time. What is spicy? Huh?
You said be 100% here. I heard you.
No. The CEO here. I've done the time work formula and I'm clear on my hourly work. I've done the time work formula and I'm clear on my hourly work. I delegate anything that's under my time work and that's not in my zone of genius.
That's a good
I
feeling.
delegate anything that's under my time work that's not in my zone of genius. I'm clear on my company culture and so is my team. I'm clear on my company culture and so is my team.
I'm feeling myself.
You're doing a great job. Doing a great job.
Oh, that's it. I think it might be right there. Okay, right. All right. I consistently get profit and loss statements on the 12th of each month. I consistently get profit and loss statements. I'll just say by your CPA by the 12th of each month. You definitely should be doing these on your own. Anybody doing their own P&L?
Me and the button, I'm clicking.
I mean, you kind of get a, but even you, I would get a second. I would have somebody else. Even though that's your thing, I would feel like because you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because ads is like our thing, but we still got we still pay somebody every single month at the second set of eyes. So like, hey, this is what I'm doing. What you think? So we like tap into YouTube ads right now. So like, we'll be teaching y'all that once we get it down. We ain't gonna teach you like everybody else. We can teach you here first, but I ain't gonna teach you y'all until we like down back. Right, but it's so far so good. So I consistently get profit loss. At the end, you got an overall assessment. At the end, you got your overall assessment. Everybody got it? How many of you, like, you've been here a few quarters and you see like the needle moving? You see the progress. Perfect. That's what it's all about. It's not about like judging where you are. It's about, okay, did I move this thing from 3 to 4 in the last quarter? Did I move this thing from 4 to 5? You see what I'm saying? It's about going from like 2 to, did I go from 1 to 2 in this last year? It's about like going to 10. Like this. Is it? All right. And on the last page it says, what do I still require? What do I still require? What do I still require? Oh my God. What do I still require? Tell me y'all, like this is where the game, this is where the game like changes. Like just pulling money for some things or even like just thinking.
One key, I lost two left.
Next walk down the sidewalk.
I like in the ads manager, figuring out this new little tweak, the targeting, tweaking the funnel. Okay.
Thank you. Right here, bud.
Oh, word. Thank you, thank you.
Overrated. 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 Oh, okay.
Joseph, you are not overrated.
For your professional environment. HR, is this some food? What happens at the retreat stays at the retreat. You know what I'm saying? Alright, here we go. Everybody good with that piece?
Yes.
No over processing stuff, y'all. Okay? It's good. Take your time. 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 And here's the cool thing. Some of the stuff it'll come up like later. Like even when you're on break, you're like, okay, it's not time for that. Or even like later when we have a new fixer, right? And you like really decompressing, something else will come up. And you just kind of put it in your phone and ask me. So then, or when you're the best, a lot of us, you probably get the most clarity like when you're in the shower when you're thinking it all about it. You're like, I need to get up the shower. Or when you're working out, or when you rock driving, or when you like running in the morning or cooking, you're like, oh, I need to get that. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of just to get your subconscious mind to start like thinking about it, working on it. Again, you start coming up like a crazy time. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go to the strategic planning sheet. It says 2021 strategic planning, Q3. All right. So you're going to grade yourself in the following areas. We're going to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. 5 being the highest. So, hold on, make sure everybody got the sheet. There it is. Boom. All right, cool. The first one is market. Rate yourself in the following area. And this is not necessarily in terms of your personal skill as a marketer, but like as a team. Because you may not be the marketing person on your team. Does that make sense? You are the marketing person on the team. Just grade yourself as a team, as a company, as it relates to the marketing of your company right now. 1 to 5. Yeah, 1 to 5. 5 being the highest. 1 is the struggle bus, 5 start fast. 2, sales. Rate yourself in the area of sales. And of course, 3rd is operations.
It is 1 to 10.
1 to 5. One to 5, the operations. 4, your client success. Client success. Not enough people talk about this. Client success. You can't get no better? You can't get no better? You can't get no better? Okay. You can't get no better. And then, so let me say this as well. Let me say this, because this was huge for us. Now, this is huge from the client success standpoint. Now, so let's say, for example, you have a significant amount of success stories. How does that equate to like percentage of clients that have gone through the program? Does that make sense? Because you may have a significant amount of success stories comparative to your market, but if you look at the percentage of people who've gone through the program and those who actually won, whatever that looks like, what does that look like? Okay. If that's the case, yeah, that's it. I'm just giving you some context for everybody, some ways to look at it.
And then you, one of my things is now I'm not supposed to know how many people have booked. So my next one will come for a profit. So I'm taking my clients and changing it. I don't care about taking money.
There you go. You see what I'm saying? So let's think about like, it's different for everybody. Like, what does that look like for you? What does that look like for you? What success look like? Make sense? All right. Job. That was huge for us. All right. Next, finance. Grade yourself in the area of finance. Grade yourself in the area of finance. And this ain't just how much money you're making. It's like your whole financial system. Do you have a financial team in place? Are you meeting with the financial team? Are y'all covering specific metrics? Do you know where you're at monetarily? Are you just making decisions based on how much money is in the account? Because most people, their financial system is like, how much money is in the account? Make sense? And like, okay, the money's in the account, but they don't have like no other thing other than that. Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. So it ain't just how much money you make. Like, you know what I mean? 500 grand last year. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Cause like a lot of stuff you'll see online is like, I didn't feel bad for people online because we have a lot of like smoking mirrors. And I made 200 grand last month, I made 250.
Right.
I heard like some horror stories. Yeah. So that's why it's important to make sure you get on top of that. Like as I came up in this like whole world, a lot of people who were like killing it when I was like coming through this world, or what was coming through this world, like they don't even exist no more. No. Some of them got jobs.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Cats that committed suicide. Like, it's a lot. Like, you looking good. Why you gotta be on top of that? It's like your accountant, financial advisor. So we got 2 parts of our CPA side. I got one who specifically is so the 2 categories is like manage, and I got a video on it. So it's the compliance side and the like more managerial side. So I got one person who specifically tax stuff, making sure the tax stuff's right. I got one side who specifically helping make decisions based on these numbers. So more of a CFO. Like, okay, based on these numbers, here's what's available to hire. Here's what's available. Here where you should be profit-wise. All right, so let's say, for example, we want to be 30% profitability. All right, this month we work 30% profitability, we work X, Y, Z. Well, this month we work beyond 30% profitability. Here's what the team was, here's what operations was, here's what, instead of just breaking it down. And based on this, here's the decisions to make. Here's how much you need to spend in ads this month. Here's what's available to hire somebody else. And again, it's a video on the members. I got an interview with him in the members area. The women's sales will call the whole 9 yards.
know if they do this, man.
Yeah.
Trying to be off.
So it's like two sides. of it.
Oh, beyond the track.
And then the financial advisor, you know what I'm saying? So, and they're having those conversations. It's a game changer. Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna survive. This is exactly, this is corporate America. Like, this is why I love this program and what we do. So, because this is like, this is corporate America. Like, you're building, you're the CEOs, but you gotta operate it like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta operate like this is a real, which it ain't like it is, but like it is. You gotta understand that it is and operate as such. Does that make sense? All right, so finance. So like I posted the other day, I'm like, the win, like buying expensive things isn't an achievement.
Right.
The ability to do so, if you want, is the real flex.
Right.
Bars.
And the ability to buy.
That's the flex.
Maintain the debt once it's purchased.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can go get the lamb. If you say I can do the lamb, you're like, but I can't. I like pulling up at the light and be like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I might be a little suburban like 2015. All right, and team culture, 1 to 5, team culture. Team culture. It's like I was reading this book called Psychology of Money. He basically says, wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the purchase you didn't make. He said, you caught that wrong? You just shot yourself right here. Huh?
That was heavy.
Bro said the wealth is the purchase you didn't make. And he said it's easy to get rich mentors because it's easier to tell the rich mentors. He said it's hard to get the wealthy ones because they don't look wealthy. You be turned off, you be like, oh, he ain't getting no money, he just got own the hotel.
Right.
He's standing in the thing next to you and like, he own the hotel, you didn't even know. Cool. So team culture, I got that? Number 2, reflecting on the past quarter. What are 3 things you're most proud of in the second quarter of 2021? That sounds like a redundant question, but don't underestimate the power of that question. So one of the things we do in the Thursday class, with youth entrepreneurship class, is we start out, one of the things is like, what's one of your wins for this week? And it'd be super challenging for a lot of times when we come up with it. And I'm like, the more you celebrate your wins, the more wins you have. Because you think you're not winning, but you are. And when you think you're not winning, you got energy of a winner. You don't have wins, you can't compound on that momentum of winning. Number 3, reflect on the past quarter. What are 3 things that most challenged you? What are 3 things that most challenged you? I see how we always start with the time review. I see how we start with what are the 3 things that most challenge you?
Say it.
What are the 3 things you're most proud of in the second quarter? What are the 3 things that most challenge you? Number 4, reflecting on the past quarter. What are the top 3 lessons you learned or reaffirmed? 3 lessons you learned or reaffirmed. 3 lessons you learned or reaffirmed. Number 5, if we were having a discussion a quarter from today, and you were to look back over the quarter to today, what has to have happened for you to feel happy about your progress? Hmm? It is enrollment. It is. If we were having a conversation a quarter from the day, and you would have looked back over the quarter to today, what has to have happened for you to feel happy about your progress? Right? You say something like waking up, crossing your brain, and you forward. Number 6, what needs to change both personally and inside your business in order to achieve what you wrote down in question number 5? What needs to change both personally and inside your business in order to achieve what you wrote down in question number 5? That's huge. Both personally and inside your business in order to achieve what you wrote down in question number 5. This is a great time for questions on this. All questions are good questions. There's no questions that get worse. Boy, it's exciting. Any questions?
It's a quick question.
What you got?
Like, if you guys are like,
Oh, wait, my.
so when you guys are doing like this content, so, I'm assuming you have people like, chop up your content, stuff like that. So do you have like other people behind the scenes, like chopping up your content, maybe like, YouTube videos you did or something like that and turn them into smaller videos for Instagram, stuff like that? Like, do you hire? 'Cause that's what I'm looking to do, but what do you call those people? Or
We'll come back to that. The short answer is yes.
okay.
We'll come back to, I got you on that. Anybody else questions about this? Questions about anything? Everybody good on this? I'm quiet, I'm sleepy.
No.
Good?
We asking internal questions. Yeah.
Good.
About a hard topic.
Good. 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 Perfect. Most people don't do this. Most people don't do this. They wonder like, what happened a whole year with They say, no. So let me show you a picture with it's cold. I posted the other day. I forgot. I don't even know that it's huge.
If I have a podcast, I just want to take it to another level. I've been doing a podcast since 2009, but it was on Blog Talk. So now I have all my own equipment. So I want to repurpose all my old stuff and then find a way to streamline the new stuff that I put. Oh, no, that's- so, I mean, because you can, if you use Anchor, you can use
All right, cool. Oh, yeah, let me,
but I got my
so it ties in perfectly with what we talking
I
about.
got microphones, I got the board,
It says,
camera.
without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful.
Bars.
Without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. It's huge. So let's get into this. All right. So this is a SWOT analysis. Who doesn't know SWOT analysis? Who do SWOT analysis? Who's done one before?
No, David, I'm-
Okay, show you right now. Who hasn't never done it? Perfect. All right, we're gonna go through it. So SWOT analysis is basically analyzing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. That's basically what SWOT is. So we're gonna go through each one by one. So let's go through your strengths first. So the first top category is characteristic of a business which give it advantages over its competitors. So jot in there, what are your strengths as a company? What are your strengths as a company? What are your strengths? What are your strengths as a company? What are your strengths as a company? This is also something amazing with your team. Especially like your main, especially like the biggest thing is main direct reports. You know, kind of what it is. Like a leadership is huge. Chris, I really got a coach that's okay with like sharing their, because like you'd be surprised, a lot of people are scared to share like what they see. If you're like in fire or something like that. So to create that environment where we like share, you'd be surprised if you don't. Strengths. All right, next is weaknesses. So the weaknesses is your characteristics of a business which make it disadvantageous relative to your competitors. Dollar, right? Hey. Gotta slow down on it. I struggle. I slow down. Everybody can hear.
Right.
Don't worry, you gotta take your time. So your weaknesses. So what are your weaknesses in the company? So what are your weaknesses in the company right now? Does that make sense?
For us personally or as the company?
In the company. It could be you personally, because if you have a weakness that affects the company, that's the thing, right? So just weaknesses as a whole. Whatever weaknesses that can affect the regular company. Weaknesses. And if you're doing everything, that's a weakness. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not tracking your numbers right now. That's a weakness. You know what I'm saying? So like those are some different examples. If you don't have your SOPs, it's a weakness. And that's looking at like the cheeks in your, basically the cheeks in your armor. What are the cheeks in your armor? It's cheeks, right?
Correct. Because it's made out of chain link, so it's
Man, what?
originally chain link.
Man, a chain link?
Originally, yeah. armor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, professor.
This man.
Weaknesses. I got that. Next, opportunities. These are the elements of the company's external environment. So the strengths and weaknesses are more so internal within the company, right? The opportunities are more so external. So like what are the opportunities like in the market or in the environment, anywhere? What are you saying as a huge opportunity? That can be tapped into. The beautiful thing about making a list of opportunities, this doesn't mean that these are all opportunities that you're gonna go execute on this quarter. You have a list of these opportunities. Okay, this is what we're doing. You just have a list of what opportunity. It may not even be a whole list. It might just be one. It's not required. It has to be a list. So for us, the opportunity for us was YouTube ads. So we focused on executing YouTube ads. At one point, the opportunity for us was doing events. So we started doing more of this. Right. One quarter when COVID first happened, threats. We'll talk about in a second. But an opportunity was doing virtual events. So moving our event, our 3-day event to a virtual, not 1-day event to a virtual. It was an opportunity, but it was also a threat. The way it was presented to us was COVID happened. Right. So it was an external thing. It was like, this may also be an opportunity, which it ended up being a massive opportunity. So just like, what are some opportunities, right? So I was like tapping into YouTube. Opportunity for us was having somebody step in to start. Well, at one point it was hiring an agency to do what I had. That was an opportunity. Then that turned into a threat. So the opportunity was bringing it back internally. Right? Huh? What?
You said first it was opportunity.
Because they didn't understand.
Because it went haywire. It stopped going the way we wanted to go. Right? And we weren't in control of it. So it was a threat. Because if we kept doing that, we brought it back internally. Right? So that was an opportunity for us. So now the opportunity is having some training somebody else up to handle our Facebook ads. That's internally, I'm tapping into the YouTube ads. And eventually we'll bring somebody in and handle YouTube ads. Right? That's what I'm saying on YouTube ads, somebody on Facebook ads, somebody on LinkedIn. So those are just all opportunities and all things that have like this for. Those are like opportunities for example. Does that make sense? Me running the ads is a threat. Right? We're clear on it. It's like, okay, It's just being aware. That makes sense? Yep, of course. I'm gonna start teaching. I'm gonna teach it to y'all like once we get it. Does that make sense? So once we spend enough money, and we're like, okay, we got this, then we go teach it. Which it'll be it's not gonna be inside the core CAU program. It'll be more. Does that make sense? So let's show you an opportunity for us to tap into the Facebook group and like really level up with our Facebook group stuff. What we've been doing with Facebook groups. Yeah, we're probably talking about that was an opportunity for us. So I'm just giving it to Shannon asked for some examples, right? So those are some examples. It's cool, right? It's cool. It's just more of a content source for us, right?
So really, some of the weaknesses could be opportunities.
Could be, but you're doing them in. I mean, a weakness is obviously an opportunity because if it's a weakness, there's an opportunity to improve on that weakness. See what I'm saying? But again, like I said earlier, this ain't like a positive thinking exercise, so you want to make sure you call them what it is. And you're like, okay, what's the opportunity? Does that make sense? So maybe a weakness, maybe you got a weakness operationally. So maybe the opportunity may be hiring somebody or promoting somebody who can take over the ops. That makes sense? Mm-hmm.
And you doing a YouTube ad is a threat
Because I'm doing it, so I'm the bottleneck. Does that make sense? Whatever I'm doing is a bottleneck.
Oh, as a CEO. I hear people saying that all of a sudden,
So it basically means it stops at me.
Oh.
So it basically stops at me. Wherever in your business, when something stops at you, you're the bottleneck with that. At one point with CAU, I did all the coaching calls. It's been like 3 hours, right, bro, every day. When we did them. Then Dre stepped in and started doing it. So okay, how do we move with Dre involved? We go to the coaching team. Then we start. And I was doing it in a circle of coaching calls. Okay, how do I move myself to this? Make sense? This is all I want to do. Work with y'all. Does that make sense? This is the highest level of service. Once y'all here, y'all get I can serve y'all way how we can serve y'all the way high level. So I only want to be having these type of conversations with y'all. Does that make sense? I don't want to talk about like where to put your fix. It's a point. It's a point. No, don't get me wrong. It's a point for that. But like I don't want to be necessarily. That's not the highest. It's not my highest adventure. That's what you saying. Does that make sense? I want to talk about like how do we get you spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a day on that? I want to have that conversation. Not what you start with. That's the conversation I want to have. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's the conversation I want to have. How we get this thing to 500,000 by next retreat? That's the conversation.
Yes.
Make sense? So those are opportunities, right? But those are weaknesses because we was like stuck in. How do we make sense? Opportunity for us. Just want to give you some examples so y'all think about this. Opportunity for us, like weakness for us. We were essentially the event managers.
Yeah.
We got there early. Me and Tracy get to the events at like 6. Right, bro? Set up everything, make sure everything was right. There was always something we missed. Might be a wire, be anything. Now I'm at Walmart at like 7:30 in the morning, filling back up the event about to start, looking up the projector. We were the event managers, right? And how we got the great Low, right? And Low handles all that. How we got this pull up. You see what I'm saying? But like, here's the cool thing. Here's what like you got a lot of times you gotta go through that and have the insight. A lot of people won't start doing it. A lot of people won't start doing it. They won't do anything until they got to be event managers. It's like you got the insight. Right. Make sense? So it was a weakness. So it's cool. We went through it. And now it's like, ooh. Make sense?
I'm glad that y'all teach it this way where you have to do the self fatigue, stuff like that, you already know what.
Exactly.
So it's like if you take clothes, then I already know what it is, you know, it may just be.
Yeah, because if you don't, they'll blame your offer.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest mistake I see people make is people reach out to us and they want to hire an agency on an offer they haven't even proven.
Right.
They're like, well, I don't really want to learn ads. I just want to pay y'all to do it. I'm like, well, we don't do that. I don't want to learn ads. It's like you don't even. And you be like, then 90 days later, you like, I hired an agency and they screwed me over. But they didn't necessarily screwed you over. You just ain't had the insight. You didn't know what you were getting. So like when we did done for you, we'll generate people a ton of applications. Then they get an application for like $20, $30. They're like, well, I don't know if this is good or are these ain't really quality because they don't got no context. They don't got no interest. So like you gotta do the ads first to like get some insight. And then that's why I said I ain't hired nobody to do YouTube ads. We tried that before, it didn't go right. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn it and then bring somebody in I can teach them. Hire them out. Just like we do with Facebook ads. Right? So weakness, opportunities, and then lastly is threats. Elements in the environment that could endanger the integrity and profitability of the business. A threat might be you don't have a financial statement. You're doing your own taxes. Anybody here doing their own taxes? That could be a threat. How many of you aren't doing taxes at all?
Another threat.
Right? Those could be threats, right? Not exercising could be a threat. Not eating well could be a threat. Not drinking enough water. Not being at peace in your personal life. It's gonna pour over into your business. 100%. You see what I'm saying? Could be a threat. Is a threat. Not taking those 90-day quarterly getaways that I've been suggesting for the past half a year. If you're not doing that, it's a threat. Telling you, if you're waiting till before you start like enjoying this stuff, it's a threat. You ain't gonna make it. Telling you, you ain't gonna make it. And then it's gonna deteriorate around you, especially those with relationships. You got kids and all that. It's gonna deteriorate. Telling you. Take those moments. You look up, kids be 19, 21. You're like, dang. Now I want to take them to Disney. Now you want to bring them to Disney. They got kids.
Take
advantage of like one of my partners on Ray. He always posts this, and it's a reality check. It's like your kids aren't gonna always ask you to play with them. So take the opportunity now. They're not always gonna ask. I'm not gonna want to play. Take advantage of it. Be conscious. It's a threat. You know what I'm saying? Not making the right investments, not hiring the right people, your environment, it's a threat. Those are some examples. Not tracking your numbers, threat. Your sales numbers, if we pull up your spreadsheet right now and it's not updated as of this morning, sales and your marketing spreadsheet, threat. Make sense? It's a threat. You don't have an executive assistant right now, it's a threat.
Woo.
You are the assistant.
Woo.
You don't have an assistant, you are.
Woo. You ain't got one. That's why you ain't making no noise. If you had one, you be making noise. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you make this noise when you have it. I understand the pain.
Having a team, not doing those things, the others that we talked about,
It's a threat. It's a big threat.
it makes a threat. If there's one thing, what would you say? If there's one thing that totally transformed my company last year, it's been those others. Hands down.
Why?
Because A players want to show up for you. That's how you weed out B players from your A players. You be complaining about somebody and they don't want to show up for a huddle to help your vision, and they shouldn't even be on your team. You have to have a bar for them to come in and say, do they buy into you? If they're not buying into you.
Your vision.
That's their vision. My bad. You're right. I just
It's like
switched that.
bigger than that. And it's not even that. It's like one of the big, that's part of it, but the bigger part is like you can eliminate like recurring issues like fast.
Really quick.
Like if you ain't communicating,
Yeah.
you talk to people like once a week, Friday, you know how much hell could be broke loose in your company? From Monday to Friday? You see what I'm saying?
He said, hell.
Or even 48 hours. And you ain't answering emails all day. Like if you ain't doing that, like your team emailing you all week, texting you, calling you, boxing you, whatever, you can knock this stuff out first thing in the morning. Boom, 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 boom. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Like literally when we get up, I call go off now, everybody be like, all right, we'll see y'all in the morning.
Yep.
And the,
Right?
and to me, the biggest question that I always that we end hours with is, what is your intention, mission, or directive for the rest of the day? You cannot leave here unless you tell me what you are about to do to the rest of the day. We cleared all this up for this morning, and now what are you gonna do the rest of the day? Then the next morning we start off with check-ins. What did you get done yesterday? Tell me what happened yesterday. Then if somebody ain't, now everybody's accountable. Everybody knows what everybody does. And then everybody can also pitch in and help one another with something that be like, oh, I got that. He don't have to come in. I can help you with that. Call me right after this. So they calling each other right after we get off of a call.
Does it make sense? The threat. I'm just giving y'all some examples. Y'all know some of your own individual ones as well. Those are threats. Y'all with me?
Yes.
Another threat, real quick, bro. Another threat is like learning, but not actually implementing what you learn, right? So like a lot of us, sometimes, I guess I'll say, like we learn things, we know things, we can use CAU for an example, right? You know what to do, but you're not following that precisely by, let's just say, the letter of the law. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of wasted your time learning it if you're not really going to implement it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that could be a threat as well.
100%. My guy Mike, y'all hear from Mike tomorrow. He said, if you don't implement, you can't ask better questions.
Right.
So like if you came to the last event, last retreat, and then go dive into it and stuff, like you can't ask a better question because you don't got no insight to ask a quality question.
But don't choke yourself trying to implement everything. That was
No,
me.
that's not the goal. That's why I
Yeah.
said, even with opportunities, if you take, not saying to say this, if you take one thing and focus on implement that for the next 90 days, it'll transform your business.
Woo.
And then you take another one thing from there. Does that make sense? Less is more.
And you tell on yourself when you don't implement,
For sure.
because we know you're not implementing when you don't have a question.
Well, you had the
Because
same
there's
question.
no way you learned it all in a 90-minute segment.
Right. No way.
So if you don't say nothing, we know you ain't done shit.
It's real. It's real. It's not surprising. It's like, again, like I like, another insight was like, if you're not like, okay, done, what's next? One of my greatest strengths and our greatest strength is like, when I join coaching programs, I mean, they like, who is this? Who is this dude? If you would DM me like, hey, what are you doing differently? I'm like, I ain't doing nothing differently. I'm doing exactly what they told me to do. I'm like, all right, I did that, what's next? I did that, all right, what's next? I did that, what's next? I did that, every coach I had, they're like, you implement faster than anybody else I've ever seen in my life. These people have been coaching for over 20, 25, 30 years. Like, you implement faster than anybody else. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody recently, and he was like, bro, I don't know, bro. He was like, but if anybody gonna go in there and get something out of it, it's definitely gonna be you. So, do it. But most people ain't implementing. And why? Most people are confident. Like, most people say they want to be in our business, but the biggest thing that keeps you from being in our business is happening. A lot of you are saying you want to get to a meal, you're gonna get to a quarter meal, and you're gonna like take your foot out the gas.
Literally throttle down.
You're gonna throttle down. You're like, $30 ain't that bad.
Or change your offer.
Or change your offer. Or just start changing things in general just to sabotage it. And then build it back up. And be wondering like what happened. You add complexity to it. Right? This is just subconscious stuff. You just sabotage the whole thing because you're scared of it. You're scared of what that's gonna look like.
It's true.
How do I handle that? What about tax? What about this? All this type of stuff. So you sabotage the whole thing. And then you come back the next retreat and you like don't want to say anything because you're embarrassed.
You are real.
I say this is real. Like, this is real.
My biggest threat is comfort.
Comfort, threat, 100%. Does that make sense?
You a Scorpio, I'm a Taurus, that ain't no threat to me, I can handle that.
Procrastination is huge.
That procrastination, now, that's a threat, that's a threat for me. Not
ADHD is more so
A creative,
BS.
yes, it's a creative genius that has not been catalyzed.
ADHD is more so an excuse.
What'd you say it was?
A creative genius
I
that
mean,
has
I
not
always
been
think about
catalyzed.
doing stuff, that's being an entrepreneur. That's all entrepreneurship. It can be a great, depending on how you try to square it. Okay, listen. Coming up with ideas and think you always gotta implement them like right then that will become an issue. Does that make sense? Kelly, you had a question.
So it's okay,
Right.
it's okay to say what's next. That's not a bad thing.
No, I've done that. Okay, so let's say for example, I say, all right, Dr. Kelly, I'm looking at your ass, do this. Like we had the conversation last time, I was like, scale the ass this way. And then you like, all right, cool, I scale the ass this way, I let her run this amount of time. This is what we're looking at. What should I do next? You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of the conversation. Okay, I did that, now what should I do?
Cause I'm always thinking there's a time limit. I remember when I was on the call and it was, I was feeling like I should be making more money. You said you haven't talked to enough people yet. So now I hesitate to say, okay, maybe I need to wait another year.
No, you just come with the data. Because a lot of times, depending on where y'all are, you can't really decipher the data because you haven't seen enough of the data. So that's why the call is so important. And the boxer access and all that's so important. Because a lot of times, if you ain't seen the data yet, you don't really have the context. So if you come back and like, okay, here's what my data is. What should I do here? And I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. You do that, and then now next call, okay, I did this over last week. What should I? So I'm gonna give you a hypothetical. So let's say, for example, you come to a call, and I'm like, and you like, let's throw this out there, y'all. Spend $200, $300. You like, I want to rent things. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Get it to $1,000. Just throwing a number out, $1,000 a day. Let's let this run. Some of y'all just freaked out when I said $1,000 a day. I just heard it. I hope that. All right, $1,000 a day. I'm like, let this run, and then let's let it run for the next 3 or 4 days. Let me know what happens. If I don't hear from you, then it's like, that's weird. But then if you be like, all right, 4 days, I done let my ass run. Here's my data, and now that's done. I've done that. What's next? So now we analyze that, and I give you suggestions on that, and then we boom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Example: I launched some YouTube ads before we went to Cabo. And yesterday, I finally sat down and went through everything, made a quick Loom video, sent it to a guy I'm working with. I'm like, hey, look, here's my ads. Here's the campaigns, here's the ad sets. I'm like, here's what I'm thinking, do based on these numbers. But you tell me if I'm making the right decision, what you think. But I did something. If I didn't do anything, nobody can help me.
Yeah.
No data.
I have no data. But because of that, he was able to send me a video back. He's like, yeah, this is great idea. Here's what I recommend in terms of scale. Do this. Now I can go in there and guess what? All right, I'm scaling those ones he says scale. And we're gonna let these run some more and I'm gonna report back next week. Does that make sense? But it's making those necessary things. Does that make sense?
The problem is a lot of people just want all the steps all at one time.
Right.
That's where the problem lies. Now you're trying to understand it intellectually instead of just executing and then getting the instructions after you execute.
I say all the time, people think I be joking, but it's serious. Like, I'm just smart enough to follow instructions. That's it.
Give you rest.
That's it. Just give me the recipe. That's it. That's all I do. Give me the recipe. I can learn everything.
How do you do what you do so quickly?
What?
When you said, you just listen to the plan and you do it, you execute very quickly, what is it about you that makes that happen?
He's a manifest.
I just wanted that. I want it back, and I'm not gonna live forever.
Not listening to that.
And I'm not scared to fail.
He's a manifest.
But I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as data.
Okay, so with Quell, one of the things he does this really well, but the biggest thing is he trusts himself, right? Most of y'all, you aren't gonna trust yourself, and so you kind of sit there debating, is this right, should I do this, da-da-da-da-da. Well, he trusts his ability to analyze, first of all, who he hired, and know that I hired a smart person, And then the second thing is he trusts himself to be able to just do it. And so because of that, there's no conflict or there's nothing interfering with, okay, I got instruction, now it's done. Most of us, if we get stuck, it's because we got an instruction, then we start thinking about it and having emotional turmoil and trying to navigate that emotional turmoil. There's none of that with 12. It's just, here's the instruction. Okay, done. What's next?
Yeah. 100%. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that. A lot of times when y'all be on the phone, many of you, not always like to say y'all, this is generalization, right? Some of you'll start changing your offer and changing stuff because some people aren't buying. And it's like, to Mike's point, it's like, many people don't buy because they don't trust themselves.
Yeah.
So they don't trust themselves, they didn't buy, you change your offer. You lower your price.
Your whole damn offer.
Because they have an issue. Does it make sense? Now, here you are like, hey, I'm thinking about changing my offer.
But Andre answered that when he said sometimes your customers have to borrow your confidence.
100%.
Yeah.
And that comes from your level of confidence and certainty on the call. Like if you want to call all timid and you like, well, how about if I do it like this? Or how about if you break it with 10 payments or 20 payments? Then you're not confident in your. Does that make sense? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Like I would cut like a $30,000 check in a heartbeat. How much you gonna give me the recipe? Let's do it. 50. All right, cool.
So I'll point out one other thing you do really well is so when Quell's in the room, he knows who to listen to, right? So some of y'all, you'll be in the room and you'll hear someone who's at your same level tell you something that they're doing that's working for them.
Yeah.
But that's not who you're supposed to be listening to.
Right.
You're supposed to be listening to the person who has repeatedly gotten results for other people, not someone who's just kind of doing it themselves. Because that person doesn't have the requisite experience or knowledge to be able to say, here's what you actually need to do. So Quell knows who to ignore and who to listen to, and that's also a big part of why he's able to trust himself and implement so fast.
Wow.
Appreciate it, bro.
Good stuff.
That make sense?
Yes.
Does he answer your question, Dan? He answered way better than I did. Make sense? Cool. So strengths, weakness, opportunity, strength. Everybody good on those?
Yeah.
Any questions? Yep. We're doing bi-weekly on our strategic planning call. Bi-weekly, right? Don't we? It ain't monthly.
It's monthly,
It's monthly?
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they coming up so fast. I
Yeah.
think
yeah, I mean, we had a good bi-weekly rhythm, but you know, things started to kind of expand.
So
So
monthly, monthly.
yeah, so now we have.
They just come up so fast. I think we gotta get together. But we do a monthly. There you go. All right, cool. Here we go. So now we should be on the Q3 strategic planning. Yeah. Y'all know we ain't even got guidance like no marketing, business, or offer. Like, we got none of that yet. How many of y'all like, we'll get some marketing? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Team building. Tell me y'all, like, this is the stuff.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to hire people into nothing when you ain't even got the stuff together.
Right.
It's like what happens when your stuff ain't together. A lot of times people come to us, they're complaining about like their team. And once we analyze it, it's like they're actually the issue. The leader is actually the issue, not the team. That happens more often than not. Like your team, he's like, wow. Straight up. We be like, wait a minute, how are you training them? What's it? No. Okay, your team is the issue.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. In the military, they say you're a direct reflection of your leadership.
100%. Make sense?
You pay 12?
So Drake pointed out something solid the other day. Y'all ever read the book Relentless by Tim Grover? Yes. I recommend checking it out. Relentless by Tim Grover. Tim Grover trained, like, he's a basketball trainer. He trained Michael Jordan, he trained Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, a lot of like high level CEOs. And he has this thing, these 3 pillars of category of people. And one of them is a cleaner. A cleaner is a finisher, a go hard, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Coolers, closers, and cleaners.
Coolers, closers, and cleaners. And Dre was like, we have a team. Who was in the Cabo talking about this? He's like, we have a team of all cleaners. Right? So it ain't like when we ain't around, nobody respect. So Rochelle hosts the call, nobody respect Rochelle less than us or Wes or whoever. Everybody know it's solid across the board. Everybody, A players, cleaners. Does that make sense? Yeah. So
What's his name?
Tim Grover. Relentless. All right, so everybody on this sheet? All right, cool, let's get into some numbers. You probably want to use like an extra sheet of paper for this as well? All right, so this first column, you want to have like your yearly revenue. So what's your revenue to date? Huh? If you're not able to grab this number at a glance, that's a threat. Yeah, if you don't know this number at a glance, that's a threat.
Is it collected revenue or just sold?
Revenue is like collect. So like revenue. Not sales, revenue.
Since January.
Oh, this-
It's gonna be a huge aha for a lot of y'all, because like, if you're not able to pull this number, that's dangerous. You can't make any scaling decisions, any hiring decisions. Dangerous, very vulnerable. This ain't a judgment, this is just awareness,
Observation.
observation. Yeah, and if y'all don't keep your numbers any other time throughout each quarter, have them updated before you come to the retreat. Because you're gonna be able to get so much more out of the retreat, so much more. Like y'all, some of y'all know, y'all show up with them numbers, we dangerous. Like y'all ever called us and you got the numbers together, sir, we dangerous. Ask them. Right. Are we?
Surgeons.
Ask them.
Brain surgeons.
Look, show up with them numbers if you want to, like all of them. Ask them in them.
Yeah.
Dangerous. Make more money than you can spend.
Yeah.
Make more money you can.
Like faster than you imagine. It's like you going from where you are now to $100,000 a month in the next 30 days, or $250,000 a month, or $500,000 a month in the next 30 days. It's a math equation.
That's it.
Like that's it.
Just all fast.
You can probably quadruple your business without even hiring that many more people, if any, depending on like your structure. It's literally a math equation. But if you don't show up with numbers, it's like if you're like, what I think or about, if I like, well, how many close it? Well, about. As soon as you say that, I know you're lying. And not like lying. My mom used to always say, if you're not the whole truth, it's a lie. I have truth and no truth. So if you be like, what about? You ain't lying, but you're lying. Because it ain't the whole truth. Make sense?
Yeah.
If I ask you how much you pay for the application right now, you're like, what about? Lying. What's your coach? About? What's your show up rate? Well, the people are like, well, ain't nobody showing up to the call. And I'm like, what's your show up percentage? Well, about, it's just a lot of them ain't showing up. And we find out after we do the numbers, well, about 70% is actually showing up. Golden. Like, what are we talking about? But if you don't have your numbers, it's just all emotion.
Where's your call tracking sheet? What's that?
Yeah, all tracking sheet.
Where do
Right.
I find it?
Where do I find
Where do I
it?
find that at?
Y'all make this make sense? But when you got it, you're dangerous. You're dangerous. And the more data you have, the better. Because now we can look at your 90 days, we can look at this year, the year to date, we can look at last year. And now we got some trends.
And the better decisions you can make. The more data you have, the better decisions.
100%. Make sense? I was doing a mastermind, I tell you all the time, I joined a mastermind 2 years ago, 25,000. I just fly to Cali every quarter. The biggest lesson I got from it was track my numbers. I used to go to every retreat, everything, and I never had my numbers. He's like, bro, you gotta have your numbers, bro. We're pissing in the wind. He's like, I can give you like what I think you should do. It's like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And ever since then, it's been on. Make sense? Like even our team though, we don't wanna know how you feel. What I feel like, we don't wanna know how you feel.
Or you start looking up in the air.
Yeah.
You gotta look in the air. You lying.
Well, I feel like a lot of people are saying, well, how many exactly are saying that? Out of how many? If you don't know, let's revisit this conversation when you have the data. Does that make sense? Game changer. So I know I talked a whole lot about that. What's your yearly to date revenue? And what's your revenue for quarter two? What's your revenue for quarter two? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
And I know money, like a lot of times people just avoid it. Cause like money is like sometimes a taboo thing. People are like uncomfortable even like, you wanna make money, but you really don't wanna like talk about it, cause it's sometimes just crazy, right? So you just avoid it. Kind of like looking at your report card and you wanna share about your report card. Like, just don't wanna look at it. Does that make sense? There she is. All right. What are the financial targets? So what's your target? What's your target for the next quarter? So for the year and for the quarter, what's your target revenue? I apologize. And I got this wrong here. What's your target sales and cash? What's your target sales and cash?
Are we supposed to change something on the paper to cash, or what do you mean?
Yeah, change, no. So right here in parentheses says revenue and cash. Change the sales and cash.
What page are you on?
We still on this page.
The bullet
It's
point.
in the small text
It's in the
under
little
quarter
box.
two.
It's like some little small text. That's why I said y'all gonna need some extra paper. Y'all gonna need some scratch paper.
So versus.
No.
Put on the scratch sheet. But not a scratch sheet. Get like some real paper, we're gonna keep it. That makes sense.
So the first one was put it where we are today, right?
Yep, where you are today. Yearly, and then what you do last quarter? With this quarter ain't quite over with yet. But like this quarter so far. But this quarter ain't technically over to the 30th. So where are you at this one? And then what's your target to end the quarter? Yeah, so you wanna know where you are now, and then also where you wanna end. And then what you wanna do next quarter in terms of sales and cash collected. And then your annual. I know it's a lot of math, but it's important. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Just do that. We just doing math right now. And feel free to get another piece of paper if you need to. Hey, look, y'all, knowing this gives y'all, push y'all 90% of it, like ahead of 95% of the other businesses who act like they're doing what you do. So Dr. Keller said, how do you stand out and dominate? This. Because the other ones who plan like they do what you do, they ain't doing it, they don't know their numbers. So they can't even afford to advertise like you can. So you buy a market share.
And that was a bar.
You buy up all the leads. But they don't even know.
Man, run that back. That was a bar.
They don't even know, they can't even afford to advertise like you. Because they don't even know their numbers. They're like, how is she showing up all over the place? She might be spending millions a month on that. No, she's just doing numbers. No, we're not there yet. You're right here. A little broke down piece of it. And look, let me give y'all a rule of thumb. A great place to be is like 50% cash collected. So on your sales, a great place to be is like 50% cash collected on your sales. It's a healthy place to be. Like on average, right? Some months are different. Some months are better than others, right? On average, it's a great place to be. And this gives you control over your business. Like if you don't know this stuff, like you have no control. Y'all with me? Yes. I think so. Okay, cool. Y'all with me? Everybody with me? Any questions about any of this? Feel free to ask me any questions. What you got about that?
Say how to. I'm just behind.
Where you at?
When you put out what you want,
I mean, your financial targets? Now, this is you decided. Like, what are your targets? Like, so how much you want to make? How much are you looking to make before the rest of this quarter is over with? I mean, yeah, before the quarter over with, what are you looking to make Q3?
We don't have June though, so.
Yeah, this up here is June ain't over. So June is the last month in the quarter.
so what you want to make. Oh.
Yeah, we're talking,
Decide what you, okay.
yeah. So we're talking about finishing this quarter. How do you want to end this quarter? Then what are you gonna do next quarter? Right? And then what's your projection for the year? Maybe you're, go ahead.
Oh, finish.
Go ahead.
What's a good strategy in general to pick your goal? Because when I say, what do I want to make for June, I just jump to big numbers that might be really far away than what I'm really at, because I just try to always dream big, but then I don't know how to make something like more realistic.
So, great question. So, and you track your numbers. Yeah, I know you track your numbers well, that's all over there. So basically, as you looking at those numbers, you can literally reverse engineer. So you like, I've consistently made this the past 90 days with this level of ad spend. I want to make this going forward. Obviously, going to maybe require a little more ad spend, but doesn't necessarily mean. So let's say you want to make quadruple next month what you made this month. That don't mean you got to spend quadruple that an ad spend, because there's other ways.
Is it smart to make that goal though? Like if you say, I went from a certain, so like, for example, if I had a month that was like, okay, I made $10,000 to $20,000. It's like, well, next month, I wanna be like, I wanna make $120,000 next month. Is it feasible? Sometimes I feel like if you make too big of jumps that might not be realistic, sometimes I tend to do that. I'm like, I wanna make $500,000
Good question. So
next month. You go from not anywhere.
So it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. This isn't a positive thinking exercise,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, what do I want to make comparative to what I'm willing to like put in to make this happen?
You try to stretch.
Cause like you go, so you go,
go.
that's like the percentage is different, right? So you saying I made 10,000 this month, I want to do 120,000 next month with the same level of input, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
That's just like delusion.
So you're saying, what is it gonna be if you don't change anything? Because what I tend to do is I say, after these retreats, I'm about to make $500,000 a month, going from 10,000 or something. And then I'll try, I look at the threats and opportunities and everything I learned, and I burn myself out trying to implement and change everything so I can do it. How do you even decide, like, I'm gonna make this one change and then I'll try to improve this number?
So okay, here's what you guys asked. You said, how do I decide?
Yeah.
Which one is gonna focus on? Right? That's what you said.
It's just how do you decide how fast? Do you make a number? I don't know.
So like, so here's the goal. The goal ain't like rapid growth. The goal is like sustainable growth. Like, how do I grow this sustainable? Because the goal ain't to make $100,000 next month, and then next month you make 20.
Right. You want to sustain it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So and that's different for everybody. So and that's based on your numbers too. And we're gonna get into the numbers in a second, because you'll be able to just like back yourself into it for the most part.
Okay. Sometimes I just don't know how to balance dreaming big and having an ambitious goal, but actually making it realistic. Just slow growth.
Do you have a team?
A small team, yes.
Have you asked them?
So a big thing.
Some of them have the
So
same problem.
listen, a big thing is gonna be kind of what we talked about in the call the other day.
Yeah.
So like doing the things we talked about in the call the other day, will quadruple your revenue. Just doing those things we talked about in the call the other day, without more aspect. You automatically go from that to quadruple. No more asking. Just by making those tweaks.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes. So quadruple my number.
But actually, so knowing those numbers, I'm not saying you got to quadruple, I'm just giving you like a hypothetical.
Got
Does that make sense? Yes.
Are we gonna go over like what's a good number as far as like conversions, as far as clicks?
Yep. We know that. We get it. That's actually we're gonna jump into that actually next section.
Okay.
Does that make sense out there?
It does.
So the big thing is like get out of your head and like into the number.
But, so here's my thing. The question is, how do I project that out? So if I know I'm gonna make the changes you said, what do I make my number for next month if I'm gonna project it out? How do I anticipate what's gonna happen?
Good question. That's when it comes to the next question. That's when it comes to the next. So everybody good on the financial targets? All right, next, what are the KPI targets? What are your KPI targets? KPI targets like people from the What are your KPI targets across marketing, sales, and operations? Marketing, sales, and operations. What are your KPI targets? What are your close rate KPIs, your marketing, and your operations? Does that make sense? Y'all with me?
Mine was easy. How many leads do I, to make more money, I have to have more leads. So the number was really random. How much money?
He has a little formula he's gonna go over.
How much money do you want? So that means your lead, gotta be whatever the number you about to say, you still say. 1,000. So how much do you charge per client?
5,000.
So you need 10 clients to make that.
So how many leads do I need to get to take on?
100 or 50, you need at least 50 leads. And then 40 of them show up. Put it on.
50 leads a week? Day? I think you gotta go for a month.
Yeah, this whole box is just for the month. So you want 50K, so you want the offer is what, 5? So you need 10 sales.
Yeah.
So this should be 10.
That should be, yeah, sales should be 50 grand.
No, this is 50 grand.
So that's the sales, sales, you want 50 sales. These two numbers should be the same.
Oh, that's a 10 sales.
You gotta have 5 sales. You need 5 sales. So how many people gotta get on the call? 20. So right now 20. So that means you have.
Yeah.
at least a
So look,
25%
let me, if Greg will pronounce that right now. So let me help everybody out real quick. Just in case you're not sure and you require some baseline numbers. The baseline, if you look on your spreadsheet, on the marketing spreadsheet, you look at the bottom, some KPIs are down there, right? Some of you, your KPIs are better because you got some data already. And then some of yours may be lower than that, but you still experience profit. So you got some idea of some KPIs and what you can improve, right? So on the bottom of the spreadsheet, the baseline KPIs we got on the spreadsheet, which you all have, is 20% conversion rate. This kind of answers the question as well. 20% conversion rate on your landing page. 10% application rate. Let's say 50% on the low end show up rate. Meaning they show up to a call. And then 20% enrollment.
Show up is the
Makes
call.
sense?
That's how many sales calls and show up. Application rate.
This is like some baseline. But again, some of y'all like got more solid data in KPIs based on like what you are gonna do. And some of your models are a little bit different. So you'll be tracking more of this.
So,
Make sense?
but you do it backwards. You need, if the average is 20%, that means you need 5 to get your jobs. So 5%, you need 25 people to show up. That means you should be able to close 20% of that 25. So
You say conversion rate, that's the
LP
LP on your language.
to do a sales call.
Yep.
How many leads?
That's a good baseline. So I know some people just came from 3-day experience, so you don't have as much data,
60.
right? So you just don't say ads for different reasons. So this is a good baseline. But again, some of you who got solid data, you got a better idea of what your numbers are. Like for real. Make sense? And if like, go ahead.
We haven't specific on
So
the,
that's
email.
So you mean, all right, so that's a great question. So Mel asked, do we have a KPI in terms of open rate on the email and the click-through rate? C, how would you answer that? What's a good KPI for like open rate on the email and the click-through rate?
Ideally, if you're consistent, I would say 15 to 20%. I like 30, but once again, that's based on if you're really consistent. Click-through rate 3 to 5% is a good baseline.
Got that?
I have a question, please. For that click-through rate and open rate, I can see that for like each individual email I sent, but where can you go on Active Campaign to see like, is there a way to average all of them though?
That's a great question. I actually don't know. I just do it in a spreadsheet and then like I put them in a spreadsheet, then it gives me the averages.
Oh,
I don't even track it.
okay.
Bingo.
It's hard. It's hard.
I don't even track it. Only thing we track is did we send out an email today? And then we resend it to the unopened.
But I can see how it changed, like with the training on when you change your titles for your emails.
Good.
There's certain emails I see that is open more, so.
And there's a lot of different variables, like what time you send it,
Yeah.
the ESP, there's a lot of different stuff you can't control. But it's like, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
I mean, because Gmail doing an update could affect like your open rates.
Yeah.
Or your click-through rates.
Quill. My Quill.
So meaning like right here, conversion rate, so 20%. Yeah, I like 35. So that's why I'm saying, like, some of y'all numbers gonna be way better. This is like a baseline. And some of y'all numbers will be lower than this, but you'll be crazy profitable still. And then you feel, okay, how do I get a bump? How do I bump it? Exactly. What's the show up rate? What's this? What's that? Because like even how we do our events now, it has changed. Our one day event has changed, like in terms of registration, it's based on the numbers. Because we okay, how many people register? How many people register? How many people register? How many of those dollar people upgraded to 3-day experience? How many of those 47 people upgraded to 3 days? How many 3 people upgraded to 3 days? It's gonna be how many of those 3 people actually joined the circle and asked them, how many of those dollar people? Feel that? So like analyze those numbers.
I have a 1-day event next Saturday. And so it's $49.
If you're gonna change it to free,
I'll give them the money back.
I'll probably do that, or give them something for what they did.
I mean, I can give them their money back and then just run it and see. You know, I like to change stuff in the middle.
I wouldn't do that going forward, but if you change it now, I would just compensate them somehow. I'll give them their money. I probably won't give them their money back because now it's gonna be. Imagine you going out to eat and you paying, and they be like, well, no, we're just gonna give you your money back. You're gonna be like, what did I just eat? Right.
Yeah.
Am I dying?
Right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Did I eat?
you gotta, so understand this, marketing is always a story. So if you're gonna out of the blue change it, you gotta create a story around it. You can't just be like, hey, I'll change it for free. You gotta have like a reason why.
I was gonna say we're celebrating, 4.3.
There you go. You see what I'm saying?
Figures,
Bingo. So you gotta just create a story around
That's my give back to
it.
society.
There you go. There you go. All right. So I got that right. We got that? Any questions about the KPIs? So you got some baselines, and then like I said, some of you all have much higher. Was that answer your question, man? Cool. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Again, y'all, I wanna know these at a glance. This will transform your business.
I have one quick question.
What you got?
So on the sheet, for the KPIs, it has two sections. Where it seems like for the cost per lead and the cost per app.
Like up under each other? So one of them is like your cost per lead, and then one of them is your earnings per lead. The one is in green is your earnings per lead, is your earnings per application. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Okay, so right here it's saying, so right here it's saying every $2, so every lead you're paying $2.48. You make $33 for every dollar. So you pay $2 for lead, you make $33. So right here it's telling you, you made $2.89 per application. And this is what you pay for. That's crazy ROI. So for every, actually, that's the
I said, oh, yeah. You want to see?
average.